Scene script. Have you ever yelled at your dog and then regretted it later? We've all been there, caught up in the heat of the moment, frustrated at a chewed-up shoe or a mess on the carpet. But what happens when we let our emotions get the best of us, and we raise our voice at our furry friends? Firstly, it's important to understand that dogs aren't like us. They don't process language the same way we do. Instead, they pick up on our tone and body language. When we yell, they don't hear the words "bad dog," they hear the anger in our voice and see the aggression in our stance. It's like a loud, scary noise to them, and it can be incredibly distressing. Immediately, you might notice signs of fear or confusion in your dog. Their ears might flatten, their tail might tuck between their legs, or they might slink away to a corner. This is their way of trying to escape what they perceive as a threat. Over time, this fear can morph into anxiety. Dogs who are frequently yelled at may become timid and skittish, always on edge in anticipation of the next attack. They may start to display problematic behaviors like excessive barking, chewing, or even soiling indoors, as a way of coping with their stress. In some cases, dogs might even respond to yelling with aggression. This is especially true if they feel cornered or threatened. It's not because they're bad or defiant, but because they're scared and trying to protect themselves. And let's not forget about the emotional toll it takes on us, the pet owners. When we yell at our dogs, we're not just causing them distress, we're also causing distress to ourselves. We're reinforcing a cycle of negativity and aggression that can strain the bond we share with our pets. Remember, when we yell, our dogs don't understand our words, they only understand our tone and body language. So, before we raise our voices, let's take a step back and consider the consequences. After all, our dogs are part of our family, and they deserve to be treated with kindness and respect. But why does yelling at dogs have these effects? Let's dive into dog psychology for a moment. To truly understand why yelling is detrimental to dogs, we need to first understand how dogs perceive the world around them. Dogs, unlike humans, don't use words to communicate. Sure, they can learn to associate certain sounds with specific actions or objects like sit or ball, but their primary form of communication is through body language and tone. When we yell, dogs don't understand the words we're saying. They don't know that "stop chewing the couch" means they should cease and desist. All they hear is a loud, threatening tone. They perceive this as a sign of danger or aggression, and it triggers their survival instincts. This could lead to one of two reactions: fear or aggression. The fear response is just what it sounds like. Your dog becomes scared, anxious, and stressed. They might start to cower, hide, or exhibit other signs of fear, such as excessive panting or shaking. This is no way for a dog to live. They should feel safe and secure in their home, not scared of their human. On the other hand, some dogs might respond to yelling with aggression. Remember, dogs are descendants of wolves, and in the wild, loud noises often signal danger. If a dog feels threatened, they might react defensively. This could manifest as growling, barking, or even biting. It's not that they're bad dogs. It's just that they're trying to protect themselves. Further, dogs are incredibly good at picking up on emotions. If you're angry and yelling, your dog will pick up on that negative energy. This can create a tense environment and even damage the bond between you and your dog. So, when you yell at your dog, you're not teaching them not to do whatever it was that frustrated you. Instead, you're just scaring them or potentially provoking aggression. Yelling only confuses and scares our furry friends. It doesn't teach them anything. Don't just take our word for it, there's science backing this up. You know, it's not just dog trainers and animal behaviorists who advise against yelling at dogs. The world of academia has also chimed in. Numerous studies and research have found that yelling can have detrimental effects on our furry friends. Let's start with a study conducted by the University of Porto in Portugal. The researchers observed 42 dogs from dog training schools that used aversive-based methods like yelling and leash jerking. They compared these dogs with 50 dogs from schools that used reward-based methods. The results were eye-opening. Dogs from the aversive-based schools showed more signs of stress, like frequent yawning and lip-licking, and had higher levels of cortisol, a stress hormone, in their saliva. In contrast, dogs from reward-based schools were more relaxed, showing fewer signs of stress. This study clearly shows that yelling and other harsh methods can lead to stress and anxiety in dogs. Another compelling study comes from the Journal of Veterinary Behavior. It found that dogs trained with aversive methods were 15 times more likely to exhibit aggressive behavior. That's right, 15 times. This just goes to show that aggression plus aggression equals aggression. Now let's talk about positive reinforcement. A study published in the Journal of Applied Animal Behavior Science found that dogs trained using positive reinforcement were more likely to perform a learned task even when their trainers weren't present. This indicates that dogs learn better and are more confident when trained with kindness and patience. In a nutshell, science has proven that yelling is not only ineffective, but can also lead to stress, anxiety, and even aggression in dogs. On the other hand, positive reinforcement methods are not only more effective but also contribute to a dog's overall well-being. So next time you feel the urge to raise your voice at your furry friend, remember these studies. Remember the science. Because research clearly shows yelling is out and patience and kindness are in. Opening. If yelling is off the table, what should we do when our dog misbehaves? Well, let's dive right into it. Instead of yelling, there are more effective strategies for addressing your dog's misbehavior. The first one is distraction. If your dog is doing something you'd rather they didn't, like chewing on your favorite pair of shoes, distract them with something else. Maybe it's a squeaky toy, or perhaps it's a treat. The goal here is to shift their focus away from the undesirable behavior. Next up, we have redirection. This goes a step further than distraction. Once you've got your dog's attention, you can guide them towards a more acceptable behavior. For instance, if your dog is chewing on the aforementioned shoe, you could redirect their attention to a chew toy. Not only does this stop the shoe destruction, but it also helps your dog understand what they are allowed to chew on. Now, onto the most effective method, positive reinforcement. This is all about rewarding the behaviors you want to see more of. Instead of focusing on the bad, focus on the good. When your dog sits patiently while you prepare their dinner, shower them with praise. When they fetch their chew toy instead of your shoe, give them a treat. By reinforcing the good behavior, you're encouraging your dog to repeat it. Remember, these techniques are not instant fixes. They require consistency and patience. It's all about building a relationship with your dog based on mutual respect and understanding. By using these methods, you're communicating with your dog in a way they can understand. You're teaching them what's acceptable and what's not, without the need for aggression. And here's a little secret. Your dog wants to please you. They thrive on your praise and approval. So, when you use these methods, you're not just correcting their behavior, you're also strengthening your bond. Closing. With patience and persistence, we can guide our dogs towards better behavior without raising our voices. You see, it's not about who can shout the loudest, it's about understanding and communication. And that's a lesson we can all take to heart. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned today. Firstly, we delved into the dire consequences of yelling at our dogs. We discovered that this seemingly harmless act can lead to anxiety, fear, and even aggression in our four-legged friends. Just as you wouldn't appreciate being screamed at, neither do our dogs. They are sentient beings with emotions, and we need to respect that. Then we explored the fascinating world of dog behavior. We learned that dogs are incredibly in tune with our emotions and can pick up on our stress and anger. This sensitivity to our mood makes yelling even more harmful. It's like a double whammy. Not only are they dealing with the loud noise, but they're also sensing our heightened negative emotions. After that, we examined the science behind why yelling is counterproductive. Instead of teaching our dogs what they should do, yelling only teaches them what not to do. It's akin to telling someone not to think about a pink elephant. The more you say it, the more they're going to think about it. The same principle applies with dogs. When we yell, we're effectively reinforcing the very behavior we want to discourage. Next, we looked at the alternatives to yelling. We found that positive reinforcement is a far more effective and humane way of training our dogs. By rewarding good behavior and ignoring or redirecting bad behavior, we can guide our dogs towards being well-behaved, happy, and confident members of our family. In conclusion, it's clear that yelling at our dogs is harmful and counterproductive. Instead, let's choose the path of understanding, patience, and positive reinforcement. After all, our dogs give us unconditional love and loyalty, and they deserve no less from us. Remember, our dogs look to us for guidance and love. Let's make sure we're giving them the kindness and patience they deserve, and not the aggression they fear.